Welcome, everyone. This is Mr. Oak, and I want to welcome you all to a special occasion because we are in Austin, Texas, and I have the team from Still Austin here. On my left, I have Stuart, I have Christian, and I have John. Why don't you guys introduce yourself individually and let you know what you do for, especially for Still Austin?
My name's Stuart Craty. I am the Central Texas retail manager for Still Austin. So I cover pretty much everything between Waco. And I've been going out to Uvalde, Eagle Pass, W, those areas. So kind of cover the big box stores and all the independent retail accounts.
Okay.
Yes, my name is Christian Wilhoff. I run our single barrel program at Still Austin. It's a work hand in hand with John, our master distiller, and select the best of the best barrels that we have.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm John Trapelle, the master distiller here at Still Austin, and I manage the distillery and all barrel warehouse and blending operations.
Okay, got it. And on the side, I had who was in witness protection program is my buddy John, who put this whole thing together. He's a nurse anesthetist like I am, and again, along for the ride here, so I appreciate him coming along. So, from my perspective, when it comes to Still Austin, and just to give you my history of what I know about it, in Virginia, we don't get much Still Austin, but we do get the cast strength, we do get the rye.
That's changing soon.
You guys heard that first. Excited about that one. So that's how I heard about it. But I remember watching a podcast, I believe it was Bruzel, came out here, and Bruzel talked about it. And then Still also talked about how you guys can age whiskey so quickly. Because again, if you're in the bourbon realm, what people say is that, well, bourbon has to be at least 4 years, has to be 5 years, which is not true at all. And I think you guys have completely shown it and blown it out the water with that. So, John, can you talk to me about how that aging process works here at Still Austin?
Yeah, so to that, I think it's very dependent on where you are at within the country. And so, yes, everything's predominantly made in Kentucky, but they have a completely different climate that we have it here in Texas. So it's really how I look at it is really combating your terroir. And so something's going to taste vastly different from, say, Colorado to New York, down south here in Texas. So obviously it's very hot here in Texas. So we can age very, very quickly versus say somewhere in a colder climate. I'll use New York as an example because I'm from there and I started my career at Black Dirt Distillery. And for, about 4 to 6 months, the barrels are in a dormancy phase. Where anything under 45 degrees, the barrels are really just sitting there. They're not expanding and contracting. So for instance, you really only have 6 to 8 months of aging in an East Coast climate, say, versus in Texas, right now, this is like the only time where it's under 45 degrees. We have like our first freeze. So the barrels are dormant, but how long are they really dormant for? 2 weeks, out of the entire year, maybe a month. So essentially we're able to age all year round. So yeah, you in theory can really have a 2-year-old taste like a 4-year-old just simply because of the climate. But that is kind of something where, for the flagships we're happy with the artist and the bourbon, where now we kind of really have that a steady state 3-year-old. And it's talked about a lot of how fast you can age things, but it's very much a double-edged sword, especially when you have more of a longer term maturation, like our blue corn, the red corn, the Tanninger, to where you don't want to be that stereotypical Texas oak buff. So there's a lot of new processes that we're putting in place with lower barrel entry proof, using our slow water reduction, but reducing things down at like a 5 or 6 year point where we're lowering down the proof all the way down to 102 to 105 proof for the bottle and bonds, 106 to 108 proof for the Tanninger barrels, just to ensure that they're not going to over oak. We're using larger barrels and having a lower barrel entry proof. So there's a lot to it as far as how you won't over oak things here in much warmer climates. So those are just like the few things that we're doing to try to mitigate the heat versus just it's super easy to age here because you have a 2-year-old taste like a 4-year-old. That's just not fully the case.
Mhm. I'm glad you brought the slow water technique because again, I thought that's impressive. For example, like Tennessee has the Lincoln process when it goes through the charcoal and that kind of stuff there too. For those who are not familiar with the slow water technique, can you explain that one? Because I think it's impressive and it was mind blowing when I heard about it and about how you guys slowly add that water to the barrel, please. So,
Yeah, so we'll start from the flagship part of it where Nancy Fraley, she's our master blender. And I've been fortunate enough to be underneath her for now going on 9 years. And a funny story that I always like to tell, first off, like how I met Nancy. I came down here and everything at that time was just about a month old that we were trying. We were making a wheated bourbon at the time. And we had a contract where we had a little bit of rye left over. So I had just made one distillation of just a rye bourbon that I thought would be good. And she comes down and she's trying the wheated bourbon. She's like, it's good, but wheat tends to take a lot longer in age, and it's good, but do you have anything else? And I'm like, great, Nancy, really, she's not impressed. And I'm like, well, I have one distillation, 6 barrels of this rye bourbon, which is now the musician. And I was like, well, I have something, it's 1 month old. If you want to try it, just with the wheated bourbon, same age. And she tries it, and I just remember her eyes just light up. And she was like, you need to change everything to this mash bill. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, you're going to have to tell the ownership that they don't even know me yet. And so right after that, right when we went to that wheat silo, everything has transitioned into more of a rye driven with the musician, 100% rye, the blue corn, the red corn mash bill. But anyways, then getting into, how do we implement the slow water reduction process? With it being so hot in Texas, we really wanted to make sure that we were mitigating anything over oaking. So she was like, hey, so all my training is from France and in the more of like the Cognac and Armagnac region. And in that, they use a process called élevage. And that's really raising your barrels from birth to maturity, almost just like how you raise your kid, just super delicate. You're very, you're just, it's like you're raising a child, right?
Yeah.
And so within that is the slow water reduction process. And so, one, we have to be very careful about the barrel proof, because you're allowed to proof at 125 proof. But we decided to, in the beginning, proof at 118 proof. And then once it hits 2.5 years old, you start the slow water reduction process. And so what does that do? Everything from 115 to 125 proof, you're pulling a lot of alcohol, soluble sugars out of it, which would be a lot more like wood-driven notes.
Okay.
And then from 114 down to say 100 proof, that's where you're pulling all the water-soluble sugars out, and that's where you're getting that caramel, the toffee, butterscotch, vanilla, and that's where you're getting all those sweet flavors that people are really looking for. We're naturally going to get more of those wood tannins just being in Texas, but the slow water reduction process over the course of 4 to 6 months, when you start at 118 and you're bringing it down 2 to 4 proof points, you're really able to extract those different flavors out of the wood. So that's the start of the slow water reduction process for us for the flagships. And then, like I said earlier, that now we've kind of taken it up a notch of how can we utilize the slow water reduction process where it's not just a consistent 4 to 6 month cycle for the flagships, but how can we have it help benefit us for longer term maturation stuff? So when we feel like it's of age and we're really happy with the flavor and we want to slow it down, that's where now all the bottle and bonds that are 5+ year old sit at that 102, 105 proof for years. For instance, the blue and red corn that are going to come out, they've sat at that lower proof now for 2 years. It'll be a 7-year this year. The white corn is going to be an 8-year. It's sat at that proof for 3 years. And you continue to taste it and just gains so much more complexity, and the mouth feels so much richer and no over oaking at all. So now it's kind of more when is it a diminishing return as far as like how much are you losing, and kind of call it good. So that the slow water reduction process has played a huge role in our success.
Okay. So
Were you kind of asking how we do that or what?
a little bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah. So I know from my extent, correct me if I'm wrong, but pretty much again, on a monthly basis, you guys add about 3 liters to each barrel to help with that.
Yeah,
process.
3 to 6 liters of water in each barrel. So we'll pull down like all our blends are blends of 40 barrels. So we'll take down 40 barrels at a time. We'll open up every single barrel and put around 3 to 6 liters of water, depending on the product. And then let it sit for a month, continue to go on. And once it hits about 102 to like 106 proof, that's when we'll send it over to bottling to dump and blend.
Now, are you guys using lime water in Texas?
All RO water, reverse osmosis water. So taking all the minerals out of it to reduce any kind of risk of adding in flavors that we don't want.
Or tasting like those nickel.
So inherently, all the water we get here in Austin is limestone filtered because we're on an aquifer. So
Okay,
it's
got it.
already naturally, yeah.
Okay,
But then we run it through reverse osmosis.
got it.
Yeah, everything from, I mean, I'm not going to say exactly how far, but further north than we are, way down south, like further south than San Antonio, where it's all aquifer water. And that's all naturally limestone filtered.
So I know that you guys also use a char 3 versus 4. I know a good portion of people use 4. Is it because of the heat why you would go with a 3 over a 4, or you just found that was a better profile first that lost it?
So it's more of how long you want to age more than anything.
Okay.
Where sometimes it's a little bit of a misconception of char 4, you're gonna get more flavor and it's gonna age quicker. It's actually the exact opposite. Where char 1, you're gonna get the most contact in the wood. If you think about it, just like layers of that the spear has to penetrate.
Yeah.
So for us, with it mainly, being a 3-year-old product, we just thought the char 4 would take a little too long.
Got it.
But if you're trying to fast track a product, the char 1 or 2 would be like a good happy medium. But char 3 would just have always had good luck.
That makes sense. So again, for someone who doesn't know as far as the depth in this, so I know char 4 is going to be a bigger depth in the barrel itself. So are you saying that because it's a bigger depth, you need it to sit a little bit longer?
Yeah.
Got it.
So for like longer term maturation stuff, I'll look at char 4s. And we actually have some char 4s aging now, but typically I'm pretty happy with char 3s.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Now, so many people, when they think of it, because again, like I said, everyone has a different opinion on bourbons, but again, everyone chases the 10-year, the 15-year, the 20-year. Is that something that you even think that Still Austin is going to be in their profile at all? Or pretty much, again, because you guys are putting out great juice at smaller ages, you guys are completely fine with that kind of mentality?
Yeah, again, so we always have to stay focused on like the core flagship of it being 3-year, and then we have our fun with the bottom bonds and the cigar blends at an older age statement. But yes, we do have we have a long-term maturation program now that I'm trying to push to 10-year, and it will eventually be released at a 6-year, and then we'll release it year after year at an older statement, and then maybe land on 10. Yeah, so I do have that idea of releasing something of like the highest quality that Texas has ever seen at an older age statement, but it's not like my primary focus because really, again, like age is really just a number at a certain point, and I'm focused on the quality of the product and knowing like where I'm at in the country, where we can utilize the lower age statement, but you'll be very pleased with whatever age it really is.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay. I know 2016 is when Still Austin opened. Correct.
Yeah, 2017 is when we started production. Yeah, summer of 2017 is when we started producing.
Now, were you guys always thinking about doing a cigar blend, or did Nancy bring that idea here? How did you guys get into cigar blends?
Yeah, so we were trying to think like what's the evolution of our portfolio, and Nancy having a background in cigar blends with Joseph Magnus, we really thought that everything that we have at our disposal, all the tools we have at our disposal with the red corn, the white corn, the blue corn, the older age statements, all the slow water reduction, in the addition also of in the Alabash process, it's called Petito. We really wanted to put our best foot forward of creating a cigar blend without using a finishing cask, because typically you see it's all a finishing cask.
Yeah.
Because some distilleries,
and
and like no fault to theirs, and a lot of them are fantastic. But we just wanted to do a little bit of a different spin off of it, where it was all in-house, no finishing casks, and using all these different components to create that depth and complexity that a cigar blend needs in order for it to hold up with a cigar.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was it worked out really well having Nancy being able to help us create it, and then all the other tools that we have here internally.
So I got to keep going with the whole cigar blend thing, just because again, we do whiskeys and we do cigars when it comes to that. Now, is your goal for your cigar blends here, is it to hold up to like a medium plus foolproof cigar, any cigar? Or I know there's some places their cigar blend just want to have tobacco notes to it. What's the goal of the cigar blend for?
Yeah, I think it would be any cigar. And essentially, for us, it's like while you're smoking a cigar, say for something of like a lighter bourbon, it's not really going to hold up to it. It doesn't have that depth and complexity that you need in a cigar blend. So yeah, it's more, we want it to be more verse for any kind of cigar or pipe smoker, anything like that. Adding in all that depth and complexity with that older age products, and then again the addition of the Petito, we thought really helped in that category.
Got it. Okay. So Tanager 1, unfortunately I haven't had it yet, but Tanager 2, I love it. It's amazing. So we have 3 eggs on Tanager 1. You got 1 cracked egg on Tanager 2. So next year, are we getting a second one, or is that just going to be pretty much again suspense?
Yeah. So next year, it's going to be a 7-year cigar blend. It will still be the same components of blue, red, and white. We change it up a little bit each year, just because the barrels are changing year over year. It's dominantly blue corn, and then red and white corn fill in the gaps. But yeah, there will be a 7-year Tanager.
Okay.
We should really throw people for a loop and just put a little dinosaur egg on there.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Because I'm gonna look for a second cracked egg on there, but I guess I'm going to wait to find out.
We'll have to see. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's on the marketing side.
Yeah. So speaking of, you mentioned the red corn, blue corn, and white corn. That is something that is a Still Austin staple, which is also nice too, because again, you guys are a grain that lasts. Why was that important to Still Austin to be that kind of company?
Being grain and glass was super important to be as authentic as we possibly could be, to where someone that is trying our products is truly tasting something that came from Texas. Really understanding that, like, hey, we're really committed to combating the Texas terroir, using all the grains that come from our regions, and something where you could be anywhere in the country and for sure that, hey, this truly came from Texas. And it really, everyone really tries to put their best foot forward for it to be the very best experience.
Got it. Will you think weeded bourbon is something in your profile, or pretty much again?
Yeah, maybe. I have a little bit of like weeded whiskey that we've released on the Rare Stock series, 100% wheat.
Okay.
There is some weeded bourbon. I would say for like right now, as far as like a flagship in the portfolio, no, not really. More like in the Distiller Reserve series, the Rare Stock series. We're very focused on blue corn, red corn, the flagship musician and flagship artist.
Okay, gotcha. So Christian, you're into, so you are the single barrel master. So why don't you tell me how you come up with your blends?
I don't know. I love what I do.
Okay.
You just want to kind of know day in, day out kind of.
Yeah, pretty much again, the whole single barrel piece.
I somehow, after all my years of where I've been in the service industry since I was like 15 years old, and someone finally decided it was a good idea to give me a paycheck to taste whiskey. No, I get this incredibly cool, unique opportunity to work hand in hand with John. I've known that for a little over 5 years now. And I used to run South Texas for us, everything on premise, off premise. And I came from a culinary background. So I was a chef for a while. I was a private chef. I was a sushi chef. And so I approach looking at flavor profiles within barrels from a culinary standpoint.
Okay.
And that's, I think, a totally different spin than what a lot of people do in this field, right? In any other like single word program. Super fun. I curate sample sets of five different either bourbon or rye at a time, but they're all going to be completely different, conflicting flavor profiles in a good way, right? Because no two barrels are exactly alike.
Exactly.
And so, we just have a lot of fun with it. We have a dedicated single barrel warehouse out at our barrel warehouse facility that's only for the single barrel program. And that's kind of when John will allot me. He'll say, hey, here's 60 barrels. Go through them. And then out of those 60 barrels, maybe like 10 of them will be good enough to be true single barrels.
Got it.
And then the rest of them will be used for blending. So what we're looking for in single barrel world is we want that kind of like all encompassing, perfect flavor profile, right?
Yeah.
A little bit sweet, a little bit spicy, a little bit tannin, also soft, perfect ABV. We just kind of want that perfect storm of everything like you would get in one of our final cooped products. So like when we're talking about our flagship products, the artist or the musician, those are usually on average right around 36 barrels.
Okay.
Right? 36 to 40 barrels at a time. And John will go through and Nancy will go through and we'll, select all these different flavor profiles that come together to make that consistently taste like that. Which is, that's really hard to do with single barrels because you need a little bit sweet, a little spicy, a little tannic for these final coops that we do for this. But with single barrels, you can't hide it. You can't blend it with anything else. It's not going to be watered down. You're not, yeah. So it's a really unique, cool thing that we're doing.
Yes. So now, your single barrels, is pretty much, are those going to be distillery only?
So independent liquor stores, private buyers, whiskey clubs all over the United States have done them. We've had people that are just super fans of our stuff, and let's say they like sold a company and they wanted to celebrate, and then so they'll come in and we private label everything with their name on it, so it'll say bottled and selected for, and then the name of whoever bought it.
Do you let people come in with their own sticker on the backside of it, or pretty much again, this is going to be Still Austin all the way?
Yeah. So, I mean, as you can tell, we have incredible artwork. We never want to cover up anything that's on the front. But yeah, I encourage anyone who wants to do like a side tater sticker or a back sticker. Yeah, go for it. But we've worked really hard to create kind of this culture of, standing out on the shelves with our artwork. I don't really encourage covering up the front, but I mean, honestly, once you buy a barrel from us and you buy these bottles, they're your bottles.
And
we can't tell you what to do.
What about the significance of the bird on it? Now, the bird is on every label. Is that correct? So
it's on all the flagships.
The flagships. Okay, great.
Yeah. So it's a red tanager or a summer cardinal. And we wanted kind of something that, so Mark Burkhart is our artist who did all the flagship artwork. And the red tanager, summer cardinal, it's this migratory bird that comes into Austin every year and kind of leaves, but it's gorgeous. It's kind of a testament to Austin is kind of this transient city, if you will. Like some people stay, some people go. There's a lot of transplants, but almost always everybody comes back, right? Just like coming back home. And we wanted this kind of symbol of that. Like, we're always going to be here. And that kind of like cyclical, like no matter where you go, you can always come back to Austin. Austin's home.
Can you remember a single barrel that you did that you was like, man, we just nailed this one? Is there one that just pops out in your head that was just a good year or a good barrel?
That's a hard question.
It's really not a lot. So when I look at ones, I mean, I love them all. I'm like super proud of everyone that goes out because there's a lot of work that goes into not only selecting them, working with John to like, saying, this is a good lot. This is a good lot. When I think of like good, I mean, they're all great, right? Or else people wouldn't pick them.
True.
But as far as like uniqueness, there was something that happened in 2019 that I've never tasted in any other whiskey, not just ours, but any other bourbon or rye out there in the world. And it was this crazy thing. There was a few that are still out there, I think, they got picked by some pretty big name accounts. But it had this incredible, like, candied poblano, like, mole note to it.
Really?
These, like, crazy, like, mole spice notes to it. And it was just, like chocolate-covered poblano with, like, cinnamon and just delicate, like, Mexican chocolate. Have you ever had that, like, abuelita, like, the little Mexican chocolate pucks? I don't know if you ever had that. Like some of those notes to it. So when I think of like something that's just like crazy off the wall, that's what I always go back to is those 2019 barrels.
Was this a rye or
no? It's a bourbon.
Really?
Our standard 70% corn, 25 rye, 5% malted barley. Same distillation, same fermentation process, same barrels that we normally use. We just kind of no telling what happened.
So I know we're talking about whiskey, but you guys, which I was surprised to know that you guys do gin as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
And I know that should be a good money maker just for some fact that again, you don't have to worry about the aging process you do when it comes to that one.
Yeah. I mean, we wanted something when we started out, obviously us being truly grain to glass, and having John, really like stick with that since day one. We've never sourced anything ever. Nothing sourced have ever touched this distillery, nor will it ever.
That's awesome.
All of our grains come from Texas farmers. And good whiskey takes time. Obviously, we were able to release a 1 year, like you said. And I think that's when people started turning their heads and they're like, whoa, this is only 1 year old and this is what's happening here. But we needed something to float the aging process, the maturation process of everything else. And we knew that we didn't just want to be like every other Tom, Dick, and Harry and do a vodka because that's the easy road. So yeah, the gin is incredible. It's actually a whiskey base. So it's 70% rye and 30% corn. And John can speak a lot more to kind of the inception of it and kind of how it.
Yeah, so
it's really unique.
Yeah, so again, with us being fairly rye driven, we didn't want to do something where it was just 100% even white corn, to where that's more or less like a GNS that you usually use to soak the botanicals in. That's just like 190 proof, just clear, neutral spirit. So we wanted to try to we didn't want it to be just like a London dry gin. Because everyone that always talks about gin, like, hey, you want to try gin? Like, no, I don't. It feels like I'm like it tastes like like you're gnawing on a Christmas tree, like a typical like London dry. So we landed on a 70% rye, 30% corn base as far as the mash bill. And then we distill it off the column at a little bit of a lower proof at like not low, but 180 to 184 proof. So you still kind of get a little bit of that rye whiskey characteristic. And then some of the botanicals in it, we have like a lot of citrus in it.
Okay.
So we want it to be like a little more citrus forward, a little more floral. And then you still kind of get that rye whiskey characteristic in it. But we really wanted to do the base in-house as well, which I think is like one of the more special aspects of it.
Got it. Okay. I'm going to go a little backwards again. Couple of things I didn't ask before that I'm just curious about too. One, so the angel share. So I know that's a big thing there too. Because of the slow water process, does that help eliminate the angel share for you? Or do you store it, your barrel standing up versus on the side? Does that help?
Yeah, no, we store them standing up. I don't think whether standing up or on the side would necessarily help. The only way that it helps is if we had, say, a more traditional rick house, we had multiple stories, where it's 10 stories like a normal rick house, we would have more angel share, obviously. To where when we palletize them, we only stack them 4 high. To try to help mitigate that, but also more importantly, the flavor component of it, where anything that we believe if we stacked them 5 or 6 high, it'd be really hard to control the tannins in it. So yeah, the palletizing does lead a hand as far as flavor, and then angel share, just as we don't stack it very high. As far as the slow water reduction helping it can, just because we're reducing down the proof. But honestly, I just opened up every single red, white, and blue corn barrel that is over 6 years old. And they're 50 to 60% full. So we're still losing a good amount. So that's one of the reasons why when you see like older age products, they're more expensive.
Absolutely.
Because you truly lose a lot. We see in the first year, we lose about 10 to 14% just in the first year. And then it's 2 to 4% year over year. So that's like where, as we're getting older, we just have to kind of look at like, all right, at 10 years old, this is how much we're losing. Kind of where do you draw the line? But we're trying to slow it down with lower barrel entry proof. That's going to help with it. So yeah, I mean, it helps a little bit.
Gotcha. Okay. Now I know you're grain glass. Do you guys do your own cooperage, or do you contract that out of state?
Yeah, so we contract that out with Independent Stave. They're the largest cooperage in the world, and about 90%, 95% of all our barrels come from their Lebanon, Missouri division. And I've been working with ISC all the way back in the Black Dirt days, and I just had the best luck with them as far as consistency goes. More of the long-term maturation project, we're working with a cooperage called Tanilla Rio in California. And so that's like longer seasoned wood to help reduce the tannin content in it. So typically it's like a 6-month season oak. The Tanilla Rio barrels are 24-month season. They're a little bit of a larger barrel, and that's specifically slated for long-term maturation. We're working with another cooperage in France. When Nancy and I visited a bunch of different distilleries and cooperages there, called Tanilla Baron. And that's a project I'm really excited for. Just getting those barrels this March. And we have a new project that we're working on that I won't speak too much on. But yeah, we work with other cooperages for more higher end projects, but typically it's all independent stave that
Gotcha.
that you're tasting currently.
Okay.
But more fun stuff to come.
Gotcha.
Fingers
No,
crossed if we nail it.
definitely excited about that one. So Stuart, how do you fit in this mix? And again, to your role here to keep Still Austin nationwide and hopefully worldwide as well.
Yeah. So I'm kind of on the other side of the spectrum from what all the fun stuff these guys do, more in like the sales aspect. So I'm, making sure all of our accounts get what they need, building displays across my territory, following up with everybody, making sure that they got what they need for tastings and demos, making sure we're getting the product to move through their facilities, building them up for the end of the year when we have more of our special releases, and making sure everybody's on point so that they're getting the allocations that they're wanting. And again, just really kind of balancing that whole thing of keeping the accounts happy. And, in Texas, we're a 3-tier system where we work with the distributing companies. So I'm kind of the liaison between the distributing company and our retail accounts. So a lot of times I'm putting up fires and trying to, make sure both sides are happy and keeping everybody, we want to be when I came to the company, I came from the distributing side, and I've worked with lots of suppliers in the past. And I feel like that kind of helped gauge on what I liked coming from suppliers and what I didn't like. And my main goal at the end of the day is to be our distributing company's favorite supplier, our retail account's favorite supplier. The product speaks for one thing, but also I think having good communication really helps things flow, especially when you have a product that people actually really want. I think we're blessed in that aspect.
If you've ever seen one of those professional like tug of war competitions,
Yes.
there's that little ring in the middle that they're trying to
It's constantly sitting in the water.
Stuart's that ring.
Yeah.
And he does an incredible job at it.
Got it. Okay. Well, we have some beautiful bottles in front of us, and also we're sitting on some barrel strength stuff, which is amazing. But can you just give a quick brief on what bottles we have in front of us, just so that individuals know what exactly they can look forward to? I know that some of them are kind of fine, but
I can start on this side.
Yeah.
So we got the gin, and I also kind of wanted to add another cool thing coming from my side of the game is the gin really, us, summers in Texas, not everybody wants to drink 100+ proof whiskey. And I think the gin really helps on the sales side of things.
Okay.
Keep us afloat. Not that we wouldn't do well during the summer. I mean, we've got red corn and stuff that is our summer release. So, but again, in Texas, it's hot. People like crisp, refreshing drinks. So in the bars and restaurants, the gin really shines. And it's a completely, it's not a London dry gin. It's not juniper heavy. So I think it really pairs well with a lot of cocktails that are cocktails that you want to drink in the Texas heat.
Yes. That was some fresh watermelon juice and a squeeze of lime over ice.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Got it. Man, that sounds great. And another ones that I've seen time and time again, we have the straight bourbon whiskey, we have the straight rye whiskey again too. That is on the shelves. Surprisingly enough, we only got the straight rye maybe, I want to say about 3-4 months ago in Virginia, which is nice to see now. So, but the other ones definitely don't have that one. So, the next one I have to see is that you have the red corn bourbon.
Yeah. So to touch on that, as far as like the lineup, so you have your core flagship, which has the gin, the musician, which is the high rye bourbon. Then we have a cash strength version of that. You have the artist, and then the cash strength artist. We have our single barrel program that also offers single barrels of the bourbon and the rye. And then you have your bottle and bomb program, which is our seasonal releases of at least 4+ year old rye and high rye bourbon. So the rye is the rabbit. The white corn high rye bourbon is the horse, and then the blue and red corn. The red corn is released in the summer. That's the snake. Which is like the Jimmy red corn, and then the blue corn is the bird. That's our ultra high rye blue corn bourbon mash bill. Those were really fun to make. I've always had a dream of making bourbon with blue and red corn, and I tried doing it at my old distillery, and actually the winter kind of kind of made that not happen, where we were trying to harvest the grain before like a huge snowstorm, and all the red corn that was in the trucks, because it was open, it was like an open top truck, molded like very quickly, and the blue corn all died in field.
Red corn is a lot more volatile than yellow corn, white corn, right?
Yeah, so red corn is a lot more nutty and astringent in flavor. It's obviously still sweet slightly, 'cause it's corn, but blue corn is like sugar water. It's like very, very sweet.
Okay.
But anyways, they were just like really fun grains to work with. And it originally started out where I had said, hey, I kind of want to make something for the Distillery Reserve series.
Okay.
And I was told, well, this is actually another really funny story. Well, if you're going to do it, get a full silo of it. I'm like, wow, okay. We don't have a mash bill developed or anything. And, now, so I had to kind of develop something fairly quickly that made sense. So we had a bunch of pilot batches and then landed on what those two mash bills were. So the red, being a little more stringent, it was 36% red, 34 white, 25 rye, 5 barley. So I almost added in the white corn to soften and sweeten it a little bit, versus the blue corn. And how we did this too. At first I did 70 blue, 70 red, 25 rye, 5 barley. So it was the same exact mash bill as the musician to see how different it is.
Yeah.
And then I altered it from there. So that was the Jimmy Red mash bill. And then the blue corn, being it was just so overbearing how sweet it was at 70%. I wanted to push the envelope on how much rye you could add into a mash bill, bourbon mash bill. And so we did 26% blue, 25 white for the white corn to kind of ease the sweetness of the blue, 44 rye, 5 barley. So it's something that you'll never see, in any other distillery as far as that mash bill, really pushing the boundary and screaming craft, where it's okay, no matter how large we get, we really do try to focus on being craft, having fun. While our primary focus is working on the flagships, this gives a little bit of an ability of, showing how craft we are in the flagship lineup. And then taking a further step, we now have or have had a Distillery Reserve series where we have a week out of the year where we really just try everything.
Okay.
Every kind of grain, malting grain, triticale, wheat, different finishing casks.
What did you just say?
Triticale.
What's triticale?
It's a hybrid of rye and wheat.
Learn something new every day.
So
he could have just made that up.
yeah, so it's really to push that boundary and challenge not only myself but the whole entire distilling team to create really truly one of one products. And then that's only released at the distillery. There used to be 2-barrel releases. Now it's such a high demand, we're really trying to push it to a 6-barrel release. But really all those are just one cook and one distillation.
Yeah.
And then we have the rare stock, which is my release, where we're releasing it only at 375 mLs, and it's just one barrel at a time. So for instance, the first one was a malted blue corn. It was a spin off of the blue corn bourbon mash bill, where we did 51% malted blue, 44 rye, 5 barley. The second one was 100% rye, aged in French oak for 4 years. We did a 100% wheat that was aged for 8 years. And all those truly just there's 6 barrels of it. And I'm trying to change it a little bit per release, but it's just 1 barrel.
Okay.
Something I'm really looking forward to that's being released in February is an apple brandy that we did. Me being from New York, as you know, very apple focused there. So I did a lot of apple brandy back at Black Dirt. So I kind of wanted to bring that down, and we were fortunate enough to run a full tanker of apple juice through the column.
That's interesting.
Lots of apple juice.
You want to tell them about Monster Mash?
Yeah, Monster Mash was a fun one. So we had a contract that we were doing, and there was a lot of different super sacks inside the distillery, and honestly, I wanted to get rid of them because they were taking up space. And I just did the ratios on a theoretical mash bill, and we just threw it all into the cooker. I'm like, let's just see what we get. And it was a corn, rye, malted rye, wheat, and malted barley mash bill. And it turns out that it was just like such a hit. And it was funny because in the very early stages, like when we're talking to distributors and everything, and we're trying them on the pie wrap bourbon mash bill, and we're like, yeah, and this is for fun. And they're like, that's my favorite one. I'm like,
Of course,
please. I'm like the one that like barely had like a lot of thought into it. But yeah, so the Monster Mash has been probably our biggest staple as far as the DRS. We release that every single year.
Okay.
And now I continue to do different iterations of that mash bill.
Okay.
So yeah, the first three were the original mash bill at 2, 3, 4 year, and then we did a malted version of that mash bill. And this year now it's going to be the first blue corn bourbon monster mash. We have a red corn bourbon monster mash. So the monster we always want to live on, and it's fun if you follow the labels. The monster's always evolving and changing. So it's super fun that really specifically.
What kinds of day?
That one was a rye whiskey, a little bit of a more traditional rye where typically you really don't see 100% rye. It's very difficult to make. But that one has corn and barley in it. So typically it's like I would say you'll see like 30 to 40% of corn in a rye whiskey mash bill. So I wanted to have a little bit more of a traditional approach on that release.
Got it.
which our ryes are both 100% ryes, just for anybody that didn't.
And it drinks, it's just really smooth. I mean,
It's crazy.
I'm a proofer, so I got the black labels for both of those because again, I just really love the way those taste. I think the other thing too, which is nice because a lot of companies do not do this and they don't display the mash bill. So I appreciate it as a consumer that you guys tell us what mash bills are in there. You know what I mean? Because
yeah.
what I love about when you do show your mash bill, that challenges anyone. I dare you to try and do what I do. You're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, and it's like, so one, I think it's like for the consumer, you're buying this, you should know what's in it.
Yeah.
Right. And it's fun to be able to try to pick out what's in the bottle. So I think one, the consumer just deserves that. And I had never a problem with releasing any mash bill.
Mhm.
And then yes, to your point, if you want to try to replicate it, that's great. But there's so much different. Everyone's system is so different.
Mhm.
So one, it would be flattering if someone tried to replicate it. Two, yes, to your point, it's virtually impossible to recreate exactly how it tastes, just because everything's so different in every facility.
Mhm.
So
Got it. So I was going to ask this question, but pretty much just being here and the name Still Austin and how much you guys actually put back into Austin itself, or the people that you work with that live in Austin. This is all about Austin. So, I mean, I don't even have to ask you about why it's named Still Austin, because again, I think you've done a phenomenal job with the branding behind it and what you guys do for that. But in closing, what would you like people who don't know about Still Austin, or people who may know a little bit about Still Austin, to know more about here and why they should buy your brand?
that's a great question. Yeah. I mean, I would say first starting off with, I don't think, there's a lot of very authentic brands, but we really, really try to practice and try to be so authentic for the consumer, not only just like with how things taste in the product, but when you look at one, how successful we are with sales, how successful we are in marketing, it really does take a village to create something like this. And you can really tell when you look at every single bottle that you have like the most dedicated and passionate people here to release the very best package to someone. And I truly have never, I've been through every iteration of this team. I've been here from the very beginning, and everyone really cares and is really focused on one common goal, and that's just being the very best in the industry. And I would say also, like from just like an ownership standpoint, they have never veered from that. And that's what I was sold on from the very beginning, of really staying dedicated to creating the absolute very best no matter how successful you are, never cutting corners, always trying to evolve and elevate the product. And that's just what we've done. And that's something that I would want to leave to the consumer of it's always just continuing to drive. How do you continue to develop, get better? Never stay complacent. I always tell the guys and anybody that I talk to within the company, I always have like the saying of like, hey, just keep your head down, foot on the gas, regardless of what the success that we've have had. It's still the very beginning, and really just like enjoy the process and stay true to who we are.
Okay, awesome. Christian, Stuart, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, one thing, get out to the consumers, man. Stop talking trash about Texas whiskey. There's so much we can. So we're in this like crazy, like infant stages of being noticed on a world stage of whiskey production, right? Like we are the babies in Texas in and of itself, and there's so many distilleries here that are just we're making stuff just absolutely phenomenal. And I think people just see it, they see Texas, and they're like, not going to try it. And they're doing themselves a massive disservice because we're doing some crazy cool stuff here. And I feel like more people need to open up their minds when it comes to what is good whiskey and where can it be made, and kind of like get your head out of the sand of thinking that only the best stuff comes from Kentucky or Tennessee, because while there is a lot of phenomenal stuff, no one's going to argue that. There's also, I mean, like look what we have in front of us. We got some incredible stuff that we're doing here in Texas. So just give it a chance. Don't let those stigmas hold you back from trying it, and just try it with an open mind. Because when you do, you're going to understand that we're doing some crazy cool shit here.
I love this. I'm a diehard Giants fan, born and raised in New York.
Yeah.
And I'm in Texas right now.
Yeah.
Drinking this juice, and it's phenomenal. So again, too, I am definitely all in when it comes to
just give it a try, man.
Stuart, anything to close us out?
And kind of like on what they were touching at, it's, I think we have a very 100% unique product here. And it's polarizing, we're from Texas. I don't know how many times I hear in the market, I hear some old guy like, I hate y'all's label, and I'm like, teach their own, but it stands out. But at the end of the day, it's the juice that matters. And I don't see a whole lot of people drinking this and saying this is crap, like it's an amazing product. Like Christian was saying, just got to try it, And we've got, we don't just have one flavor. There's a bunch of different flavors, so try to try what you can at bars and where you can try it at. And I just feel like there's so many variations of what we can do. And again, we're a young company, and I think it's just the beginning of what's going to come.
Yeah.
All we are saying is give 10 cents a
So there was a lot of beautiful boxes that whiskey came in last year, and it still can't touch the damn Tanager red box. It's a beautiful bottle. So I mean, I love it. I can't wait to get more of that. And this was great. Thank you all for this. Allowing us.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
No, I appreciate that. You guys heard it all here. John, excited what you said. You got a lot of unique stuff coming in there. I'm a fan. I just hope that from Virginia, where I live now, I can get some more of this stuff, or at least get on.
We got you.
I appreciate you. That's all love right there. So you guys heard it here. Everything I have right now, I'm going to go outside in this distillery that's available. I'm going to buy that crap and bring it back home, just because, again, it's just that stuff. So again, if you guys are in Austin, you have to come visit it. If you guys have it online, wherever you can find Still Austin, just go ahead and buy it. I guarantee you won't be upset about that one. And lastly, just want to know that what are you guys sipping on? I know what I'm sipping on today. It's going to be all Still Austin. Take care. See you guys soon.